In the quiet, leafy outskirts of a sun-drenched town in North Carolina, the Miller family lived in a house filled with the scent of fresh pine and the soft hum of anticipation. Sarah and James were about to embark on the greatest adventure of their lives, parenthood. However, they were also firm believers that a house wasn't a home without four paws on the hardwood floors. Just weeks before their daughter, Maya, was born, they made a decision that raised a few eyebrows among their neighbors. They adopted a Doberman pinscher puppy named Baron. People often whispered about the breed's reputation, but Sarah and James saw only the liquid gold in Baron's eyes and the gentle soul beneath his sleek, obsidian coat. When Maya finally arrived, wrapped in a pink wool blanket, the air in the house changed. The stillness of the nursery was broken by soft whimpers and the rhythmic click-clack of Baron's nails on the floor. The first introduction was a moment frozen in time. James held the tiny bundle close to the floor, and Baron, usually a whirlwind of energy, approached with a reverence that seemed almost ancestral. He didn't bark or jump. He simply leaned in, his wet nose twitching, and gave a single, delicate lick to Maya's tiny, curled fist. From that second, a silent pact was formed. Baron wasn't just a pet anymore. He was a guardian, a silent witness to the miracle of growth. As the months bled into a year, the bond deepened in ways that defied human language. While Maya spent her days on a colorful play mat, Baron would position himself like a living fortress nearby. He wasn't just lying down, he was on duty. If Maya let out a sharp cry, Baron was the first to reach the crib, his ears perked, pacing until Sarah or James appeared to soothe her. He seemed to understand the fragility of the new life in his care. When Maya began the arduous task of learning to crawl, Baron became her greatest motivator. He would place his favorite rubber toy just out of her reach, wagging his docked tail in a slow, rhythmic beat, encouraging her to move forward. She would grunt and wiggle, her blue eyes locked onto the black and tan giant who waited patiently for her. On the day she finally made it across the rug, burying her chubby fingers into his thick neck fur, Baron let out a soft, contented sigh and rested his heavy head on her shoulder. It was a partnership built on trust and a shared language of touch. The transition from infancy to toddlerhood brought a new dynamic of play. Maya, now a whirlwind of golden curls and infectious laughter, viewed Baron as her best friend, her steed, and her confidant. She would often drag her picture books over Maya. He moved with the grace of a shadow. When she grew tired, they would sit together on the porch swing, the American flag fluttering quietly above them, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of violet and orange. The neighbors who had once looked on with skepticism now stopped to admire the duo, moved by the obvious devotion that flowed between the little girl and her noble protector. There was a particular winter evening when the power went out during a sudden snowstorm. The house grew cold, and the shadows stretched long across the walls. Maya, frightened by the darkness and the howling wind, began to sob. Before her parents could reach her, Baron had already nudged his way into her room. He crawled into her small teepee tent, circling until he was tucked into a tight ball. Maya immediately crawled into the space between his front legs, burying her face in his warmth. When James found them with a flashlight, he saw his daughter fast asleep, her breathing synchronized with the steady, rhythmic heartbeat of the Doberman. It was in these quiet, unrecorded moments that the true depth of their connection lived. Baron wasn't just a dog. He was her comfort, her safety, and her constant in a world that was constantly changing. He seemed to possess an intuitive sense of her moods, knowing exactly when she needed a playful nudge or a quiet presence to lean on. As Maya reached her 4th birthday, their games became more elaborate. Baron was frequently invited to tea parties, where he would sit with a plastic crown balanced precariously between his ears, stoically accepting tea from a tiny porcelain cup. He was the dragon in her fairy tales and the co-pilot in her imaginary rocket ships. Through every scrape on her knee and every childhood tantrum, Baron remained the steady anchor. He taught her empathy, showing her that strength is best used for protection and kindness. Sarah and James watched this unfolding friendship with tears of gratitude, realizing that Baron had given Maya a gift no toy or book could ever provide: the unwavering, judgmental free love of a loyal companion. The Doberman, once feared by many, had become the very heart of their home. Years passed, and the little girl grew taller, her strides longer, but her hand always found its way to the top of Baron's head. Their walks through the neighborhood became a staple of the community, a symbol of the beautiful harmony that can exist between a child and an animal. Baron's muzzle began to show signs of silver, a testament to the time they had shared, but his eyes remained as bright and protective as they were on the day they first met. He had seen her through her first steps, her first words, and her first days of school, always waiting by the door with a wagging tail and a soulful gaze. Their story wasn't just about a girl and her dog. It was a testament to the transformative power of love and the breaking of stereotypes. In the heart of America, in a house filled with laughter and the soft scent of dog fur, a Doberman and his girl continued to write their beautiful, silent story of friendship, one heartbeat at a time. The bond they shared was a bridge between two worlds, a reminder that the purest forms of love require no words, only a presence that says, "I am here and you are safe." As the sun set on another day, Maya would whisper secrets into Baron's velvet ears, and he would nudge her hand, a silent promise that as long as he lived, she would never walk alone. The legacy of their companionship became a part of the house itself, woven into the very floorboards where they played and the garden where they ran, a perpetual echo of a girl and her black and tan guardian. As the years mellowed into a golden era, Baron's pace slowed, but his heart remained a vigilant flame. He no longer chased squirrels with reckless abandon, preferring to wait by the porch steps for the familiar chime of the school bus. When Maya stepped off, now a confident young girl, his tail would beat a rhythmic welcome against the wooden boards, a sound that, to her, meant home. One evening, as a soft amber glow settled over the North Carolina hills, Maya sat beside him, brushing the silver fur on his muzzle. She whispered her dreams of the future, and Baron leaned his weight against her, a silent anchor in a changing world. He had been her first friend, her fierce protector, and her most patient teacher. In his steady gaze, she saw a lifetime of shared secrets and unspoken promises. Their story, built on a foundation of pure, transformative love, became a legend in their quiet neighborhood, a living proof that the most misunderstood hearts often possess the greatest capacity for devotion. As the stars